Welcome to this explainer. Grand Theft Auto 5 is just an absolute technical anomaly. I mean, think about it. It spanned three entirely different console generations over more than a decade, and somehow it just keeps getting better. We're talking going from those slightly blurry original releases all the way to the absolutely stunning modern editions. Every single time it dropped, it changed the world of Los Santos in a very specific, tangible way. So today, we're diving into the data to track the evolution of this absolute technical masterpiece. We're going to compare every major version to figure out, once and for all, which one is the actual, definitive best way to play. Okay, let's dive into this and map out the massive chronological journey we're about to explore. We're kicking things off way back in 2013 with the PS3 and Xbox 360 launch. Then we jump to the next-gen consoles in 2014, transition right into the massive PC modding revolution, and finally land in 2022 with the PS5 and enhanced PC editions. Our main goal today, to follow this timeline step by step and track down the definitive version of Los Santos. To get there, here's our agenda. We'll start with the original masterpiece, explore the next-gen leap, and look into the PC modding revolution. Then, we'll break down the modern console upgrades, evaluate the ultimate enhanced PC version, and finally wrap up with our final verdict. This structure is going to take us straight from those baseline hardware limits all the way to the ultimate showdown. All right, let's get into it. Section 1, the original masterpiece and the hardware limits of 2013. So everything started on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Now, to be fair, we really need to remember that despite some strict hardware limitations, Rockstar still delivered an incredibly ambitious open-world game for 2013. But that baseline was firmly set at 720p, and look, while that was highly acceptable back then, this resolution definitely brought a heavy layer of blurriness to those sprawling cityscapes. It made things like distant skyscrapers and desert roads just look, well, muddy and indistinct. And tied directly to that resolution was a strict 30 frames per second limit. Pushing a world this massive meant players just had to endure some agonizingly long loading screens. A lot of people jokingly referred to it as the cloud simulator phase of the game. Plus, to maintain even that 30 FPS cap, the physical world itself actually had to be compromised. We're talking noticeably smaller vegetation and pretty sparse traffic. Los Santos was huge, absolutely, but driving through it felt relatively empty and a bit sluggish compared to what was right around the corner. Let's move to our next section and see how this builds. Section 2, the next-gen leap for PS4 and Xbox One. Just 1 year later, in 2014, Rockstar came in and completely upgraded the game for a brand new, much more powerful generation of consoles. The most immediate punch-in-the-face difference, a heavy, highly significant visual leap to 1080p graphics. Moving from 720p to 1080p instantly sharpened the entire world. The textures were better, the lines were way cleaner, and those neon lights in the city finally popped. The whole visual presentation was just dramatically elevated. And all that extra processing power, it completely transformed the environment. The original Gen 7 release really suffered from that sparse traffic and long loading. But the Gen 8 upgrade packed the streets with much denser traffic, way more wildlife, and these great dynamic weather effects. But honestly, the real game changer was the introduction of an entirely new first-person mode. This changed how players interacted with Los Santos on a fundamental, highly immersive level. These specific upgrades didn't just make the game look better, they made the entire world feel completely alive. Up next, Section 3, the PC modding revolution, unlocking the potential. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is when the PC version finally arrived. It completely removed the training wheels of fixed console hardware. With unlimited graphics settings, players pushed way past 1080p and finally broke that old frame limit to achieve a silky smooth 60-plus FPS. Ultra settings brought in these breathtaking shadows and absolutely stunning reflections. But actually, the real magic was the community. This era introduced custom vehicles and literally thousands of community mods that continually breathed fresh life into the game. For years, this was hands down the absolute ultimate way to experience Los Santos. Fast forward a bit. Section 4, the modern console upgrades for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Right, so fast forward to 2022. Rockstar launched the expanded and enhanced version for modern platforms, mainly to bridge the massive gap that had formed between console and PC players over the years. Smoother gameplay and revamped lighting made a really noticeable, immediate difference here. While it wasn't a ground-up engine rebuild, this deeply impactful refinement drastically improved the moment-to-moment feel of just navigating the city. Console players finally got native 4K support and, yeah, actual ray tracing.
Crucially, a new performance mode guaranteed a rock-solid 60 FPS on televisions, which completely changed the driving mechanics. And thanks to modern solid-state drives, those agonizingly long loading screens basically eliminated. That meant character switching was practically instantaneous. Plus, the visual flair was dialed way up with better explosions and improved lighting. Console players finally had an experience that could genuinely rival high-end PCs.
Bringing us to Section 5, Ultimate Enhanced PC, the peak of Los Santos. And this brilliantly illustrates how things came full circle. Eventually, PC players got all those enhanced edition features too, bringing our technological timeline right to the absolute cutting edge. Today, the enhanced PC is simply the most advanced version available. It beautifully layers ray-traced reflections, advanced upscaling through things like DLSS and FSR, and faster loading right on top of that already massive PC modding ecosystem. It even threw in the house special works content, basically perfectly blending recent console improvements with PC-exclusive tech. Which leads us to the end. Section 6, the final verdict, the Matrix Showdown. So the crucial point is figuring out where everything stands after tracking resolutions, frame rates, and mods across 3 entire generations. Let's walk through this ultimate showdown matrix to definitely settle the debate. So the PS3 sits as our 2-star classic, locked at 30 FPS. Moving up, the PS4 bumped those graphics to 3 stars. Then the PS5 jumps up to 4-star graphics and a much-needed excellent 60 FPS. Now, while the PC Legacy version gave us unlimited frames and mods, that final row says it all. The PC Enhanced Edition is the definitive 5-star, best overall way to play, giving you unlimited FPS, massive community mods, and the absolute highest tier of graphical fidelity. You know, it's pretty incredible to sit back and reflect on this game's monumental legacy. As our source material points out, after more than a decade, GTA 5 is still one of the most impressive open-world games ever created. It has continuously pushed the boundaries of hardware over the years, adapting and scaling to make sure Los Santos always feels technologically relevant. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Which version do you think is the best? Did you appreciate the pure, shocking jump to 1080p back on the PS4? Or are you fully invested in the insane modding scene on the PC Enhanced Edition? I want to know. Let's debate your favorite era down in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed mapping out all this data with me today, make sure to subscribe to this explainer series because we have some massive deep dive explainers for GTA 6 coming very, very soon. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.